This is the Rolex Submariner Black Dial Oystersteel 40mm, model number 114060, and honestly, just holding it here, I totally get why it's become such a big deal among watch fans. What you see right away is that classic shape, that distinctive round case in stainless steel, the black ceramic bezel with bold numerals, the oyster bracelet. It pretty much sets the standard for what a dive watch should look like. There's something about the look and feel of this Submariner that just works for so many situations. From everyday jeans to a suit, to even those weekends I want to take it a little easy and just enjoy a chill day out. In my opinion, this is really a watch that needs no introduction. But if you're new to Rolex, I'll try to cover all the key features and answer some things I wondered about before I started wearing it regularly. The reference 114060 came out in 2012, and while I know some people are already onto newer models, this one hits that sweet spot for me between modern specs and timeless looks. The case is 40mm across, which for my wrist, and honestly for most average-sized wrists, gives a really balanced and wearable feel. Some worry it might look too chunky because of what Rolex calls the super case, which means the lugs, those arms that hold the bracelet, are pretty thick and squared off compared to earlier generations. At first, I was a little unsure since it does look bolder, but on the wrist, I think it actually manages to look strong without being over the top. It's substantial, but not flashy. Key features I notice every time I put it on are the glossy black Cerachrome bezel and the super symmetrical no-date dial. The Cerachrome insert isn't just regular ceramic. It's designed to resist scratches and keep its shine for years, and the engraved markers are filled with platinum, so they really pop in certain light. I know a few folks love the version with the date, but for me, the no-date dial is just perfect for daily wear. It keeps the face clean, balanced, and totally recognizable. You've got those big white hour markers filled with chromalite, Rolex's special glow-in-the-dark lume. So anytime I check the watch in the dark, it's super bright and easy to read. The dial is what I call timeless, the kind that never goes out of style. One thing that surprised me before I had this in hand was how tactile the rotating bezel feels. It's unidirectional for divers, of course, which basically means it only turns one way, to prevent accidental movement while timing dives. But the action is amazing, super crisp and satisfying. If you're new to mechanical watches, that's not always a given. Some watches feel soft or too easy to bump, but here every click is firm. You just can't help fiddling with it sometimes. The trip-lock crown, where you set the time and wind the watch, screws down extra securely, so you get great water resistance. I've never felt worried about wearing it when I'm near water or even just washing my hands. Inside is the Rolex Caliber 3130 automatic movement. From my experience, it's been as accurate as advertised, hovering around +1 or +2 seconds a day. To put this in perspective, that's honestly more precise than most people will ever need. The movement has features like a parachrome hairspring, which keeps things stable even if you drop the watch or experience some magnetic fields. The power reserve is about 48 hours. Sometimes I do wish it was 60, just so I didn't have to think about winding it after not wearing it for a weekend. But for normal daily wear, it's totally fine. Comfort on the wrist is something I care about a lot, especially since I tend to wear my watches for the entire day. The Oyster bracelet here feels super solid and smooth. One of my favorite features is the glide lock clasp. For anyone new, that means you can adjust the size of the bracelet by a few millimeters without using any tools. So if your wrist gets a little bigger in the summer or after exercise, or if it's cold and your wrist shrinks just a bit, you can easily tweak the fit in seconds. This kind of convenience is something you don't really appreciate until you've lived with it. And I've found it perfect for daily changes. One less thing to worry about. From my experience, the only real downsides I've noticed have more to do with the looks and wear than anything else. The high polished sides of the case and the clasp do pick up scratches pretty quick, especially if you're doing a lot of desk work. Those little marks appear within days, and while I know some people like their watches pristine, personally, I feel like it just gives the watch a bit more character over time. It becomes your story, not just something straight from a store. Also, the super case proportions, mainly those wide and thick lugs, can look a bit blocky if you compare to older, thinner Submariner models or vintage dive watches. I was a little concerned at first because it's not as streamlined as, say, some older references, and third-party straps sometimes don't fit as well due to the case shape. But honestly, when you wear it for a few weeks, It feels normal and even comfortable. One thing that might surprise buyers. Since the 11460 was discontinued in 2020 and replaced by a slightly updated Submariner, finding one of these brand new is tough. When I started looking, I heard stories about waiting lists at official Rolex dealers, sometimes even up to a year. A lot of people, like me, end up checking the secondary market or going through authorized resellers. That's something to consider, because it does make this model feel a bit special. You've got a classic watch with a bit of scarcity, so if you get one and wear it, it feels like a bit of a win. This Submariner is rated to 300 meters water resistance. I don't dive, but from my experience with it at the pool or spending the day by the water, it feels totally robust. After a quick rinse under the tap, it looks basically new again. That really matches what I want in a daily watch. Strong enough for any accidental knocks or exposure, but also subtle and understated enough I don't feel out of place wearing it at work or to a nice dinner. The movement is self-winding, which means it charges up just by moving my wrist as I wear it. I do check the accuracy every now and then, and honestly, having a reliable timekeeper that doubles as a conversation starter is just fun. One thing I would recommend for newer collectors: don't overthink the scratches and marks. I was hesitant to wear it at first because I wanted to keep it perfect, but I've realized these marks are badges of life lived with the watch. They give your Submariner its own personality.